Well, the last time Swampy was on a low loader, it was nearly 15 years ago, and he was getting pulled out of a field. So I don't think it's bad. One recovery in all that time. I got it done at least 70,000 miles on this car since we restored it. So one recovery in 15 years, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. And it's a pull. We've been pulled. Naughty boy. Mk3 Cortina City in Swampy. On a little drive down to Birmingham. Swampy goes back on the road for a bit of summer season action, and coming on the M5 going back, so a little journey back from Birmingham back north, and I hear one hell of a rattle. I was in the middle lane of the M5 and put my foot down just about 65, 70, and there was a clatter. I felt power loss. Let's just close this door. We've got a bit of road traffic. We're currently waiting. This is how bad it is. We're waiting for recovery. Swampy, for the first time in his history, and he's been around a while, Pete C at the controls, has broken down. Yep, and here we are in West Bromwich, in a service station. Luckily I was able to run on 3 cylinders and get off the motorway and pull into the junction 1, the nearest garage, off junction 1 onto an A road, and then here in West Bromwich waiting recovery, because I've checked the engine. I thought the timing, the cam belt had slipped a tooth, so I lined it up with a 19mm spanner on top dead center under the engine, took the cam cover off, of course, cam cover off, spin the engine round, rotor arm to plug 1, top dead center markers, then look for the camshaft mounting and the moon indicator. As you know, you've seen them on other videos, setting up these cam timings. Everything lined up. Then went on to check each lead at a time, so it just about ticks over. Pull a lead at a time off, and lead 4, spark plug right at the back, plug 4, made no difference by pulling off the spark lead. That would tell me it's either a spark plug or a faulty ignition lead. Next step, pull the plug out, start the engine again with the plug lying onto the chassis of the car for a ground with the lead connected, and the plug is sparking fine and the plug looks good. Okay, although it was a little wet, the plug. So next, put the plug back in, hoping it's actually had a new plug with me, so just to be safe I put a new plug in there. Still no difference, and a hell of a clattering noise on what sounded like pinking, but it wasn't. I think something snapped. Obviously it won't be the camshaft. I think either a follower's gone, the valve has dropped, the collets have come off, something's happened, and there's no effect by cylinder 4. In other words, pulling the lead off, cylinder 4 is down basically. It's puffing out of it, but it might not be sucking. So either an inlet valve has gone, it looks like it's inlet valve to be fair, could be exhaust valve, but it looks like there's a problem with the valve, and we are out of action. Could drive home on 3, but what if there's bits of metal chewing around inside there? You just can't do it. I was tempted. If I was, say, 10 miles away from home, I might have considered struggling, limping back, but this is, you know, it's too far. There's a good 100 miles there to do, so we wait for recovery. Pete C on a Swampy video done on my mobile phone, so this will look slightly different on the final edit. You might be cropped with bars. I don't know how it works when you go from vertical to horizontal. Why didn't I just turn the phone to the horizontal position? Waiting for recovery, Pete C. Yeah, so here we are, West Bromwich. Swampy down, his first breakdown. Clattering, noise from cylinder 4. Is it the valve? Is it the follower? We know it's not the cam belt, so we know it's not a spark plug. So something's bad. But looking at the plug that I took out, there was no bits of metal stuck to the plug. No like signs that the plug's been struck by the valve that might have broken away. So that, I'm thinking follower, but can a follower actually snap? Certainly something's rattling inside the cam cover. So could that be bits of the follower? Is the follower actually broke in half? Have we ever had that happen? Have you ever had a valve go on a Pinto? I've never heard of it before. So recovery did say half an hour. We're now into that half hour. I don't know where they are, but guess what? For another bad turn of luck, I added Swampy on to the policy and didn't put recovery on. Complacency there, so we're having to pay. It's a sting. We're going to pay to get home. There's all my fleet have all got recovery except Swampy, simply because he wasn't due on this season. Due on? That's a girl's term. He wasn't due on the road this season. He was having a break. But I just thought, no, I'm going to take Swampy out, add it onto the policy. Did I click recovery? No. Cash me in, baby. Where's this recovery truck gone? Come on. Okay, time to go home. We're loaded and we're off. We'll get back to the workshop now and see what the hell this is all about. Mk3 Cortina City. Let's get back to base, get the rocker cover off. See what's happened to the valves, or the valve, single valve, in the cab for me, and off we go. Rush hour traffic, M6, coming up very soon anyway. Well, the last time Swampy was on a low loader, it was nearly 15 years ago, and he was getting pulled out of a field. So I don't think it's bad. One recovery in all that time. I got it done at least 70,000 miles on this car since we restored it. So one recovery in 15 years, I'll go with that. I'll go with that. And we are on board in an aircon cab. Not bad. Put our feet up. Hell, I should have brought Practical Classics. I could have read that on the way home. Okay, so recovered and back to base. You just saw there some footage of us loading the car. It was done on the mobile, so slight difference in video quality. Swampy's back and we're going to get the rocker cover off. It's got to be done. I'm thinking, I'm going along the lines of valve has come, rocker's come loose, undone itself and fallen off inside the cylinder head. That's what I think. Did a little bit of research on Google, and I put in Pinto valve problems, and one little thread I found saying they have had a rocker undo itself and fall off, and I think that's what the clattering noise was. Now, if it's done any damage, we're about to find out, so brace yourselves, folks, and spray liberally, the spray bar. There's Smokey comes to give us a hand. He's back to give us a hand. What are you doing? What are you up to? Let's go and fix that car. We're going to find out. Let's get the 10 milli on there and lift that rocker cover off, carburetor off. I know, no doubt we'll have to end up doing all the valve clearances. We may as well. Let's see what we can do. Join me overhead. Let me clean the lens for you. Any lens people out there. It's mucky. Okay, tightening up the adjuster on the camera there. I'm going to get you a light as well, but we're going in. Air cleaner off first, folks. Let's do it. And then let's get to that cover. Off with this. One more bolt to go this side. Don't think we can get it. I think we can unhook it. Yeah. Unhook that. We've got our little magnet tray there too. Put that there. Okay, let's go. Little washers to catch as well. What will it reveal? Can we get into this one? Just about. This is where you need your little magnet. It'll be magnet time. No doubt I'll lose a washer. Nearly there. I think there's one just by the carburetor. It's a little bit tricky to get to. Oh, have we got it? No, actually, I think we're away with that. Off. Everything is off. Right. I'll be right back. Well, you ready for the big reveal? It's the big reveal. While we're working outside, I just can't push it. Can't push it into the garage. I couldn't quite get it up into the garage, as the actress said to the bishop. How's our okay, live, right in. What's gone on? Okay, what have we got? We've got a camshaft. We've got valves. Have we got valves? It looks like I can't see what is going on here. What is going on? We're gonna have to crank it over and just see what the hell's going on. What has happened? It isn't what I thought. A rocker has not come off. It's gonna have to be the head off by the looks of things. None of this makes sense. Where's the clattering noise coming from? Can you see anything I can't? Why is cylinder 4 not working? There's nothing on cylinder 4. I don't know yet. What's that? Is that a dent in there? Can you see any foreign objects in here? Something's not right. It won't even crank. I mean, it won't even start. I tried to start it to move it in the garage and it wouldn't go. Is it me, or does that cam there look worn to hell? What's this? That doesn't look good. Or is it just the bottom part? No, it's just the bottom part. I still can't see anything obvious. Help me out here, guys. What is going on? Am I missing something? No ignition on cylinder 4. There's a hole burnt in the piston, perhaps. Is it something else? I think the head's gonna have to come off and just see what is going on with this clattering engine. I can't really fire it up because oil goes all over the place with the cam cover off. That's not good. That spring's about to come off there. Look, hang on, torch on here. This, that's about to come off. Look, wow, that was not clipped on there. Is it that? Well, it's cylinder 4 that's the problem, but that was not clipped on properly. I can't see it being that. And that's all bent there. That spring's wrong. It's all opened out. Why would that be like that? That doesn't look a good spring at all. Are all the springs on? They are all on, the wide springs. I'll crank it over. It's not going to start, obviously there's no spark leads. Let's just see what happens when we crank it over. I'll leave you on the mag mount. I'll turn this over now. Okay folks, an overhead view for you, PC at the city. Cam cover off. All the rockers, valves and everything are going, so it's not a follower that's come off. Do you know what? It's going to be something much more serious. I reckon a conrod's gone. I reckon a conrod has snapped and that piston is just lying there doing nothing, and that's what all the knocking was. I reckon head off, but I reckon engine's got to come out. This don't look good. Something's seriously wrong. Something's seriously wrong with Swampy, and I reckon we've chucked a rod. I think I'm going to go back on that throwing a rod, because the piston's moving up and down. So next thing to do is a compression test and see what we get. If I stick you on the gauge there, you'll see it. Let's see if there's any compression on 4. I'm going to angle you up a little bit. Let's get you over here. Let's get you over there. Let's get you down here. Sorry about that. Right, compression test this and to see what we get. Probably nothing. Absolutely zero compression. Is that right? Absolutely nothing. Is that right? Talking of tickling, cam belts off. And by the way, if anyone asks, it was all lined up. So you've got your mountain and your little moon dots. You see that on other videos. I mentioned that earlier in the video. But that lines the camshaft up with piston 1 valves fully closed and the rotor arm at plug position 1 ready to fire that piston. That was in line with TDC down there, TDC on the bottom of the crank pulley. So that was all okay, so it hasn't slipped any teeth. No compression, as you just saw. Sorry, the camera cut off when I was doing the compression test. So I can see valve stems here. So why no compression on 4, given that everything seems to be in place? Well, I spoke to Paul Zuni from the Mk3 Owners Club. If you're not in the club and you've got a Mk3, I recommend joining. It's 20 quid and it's value for money because you get to meet the community, tech questions, there's parts, there's all sorts. You've got to do it. Mk3 Owners Club. Little plug for them guys who work really hard on the club. Great little community. But spoke to Paul, who's a bit of a guru when it comes to engines, and he suggested possibly that the valve head has come off and the stem's still in place. Now there was a loud rattling in this engine, so suspiciously something sounds like it's bouncing around. Could it be that the head's come off the valve stem? We don't know. There's only one way to find out, and that's to lift the head off. So I'm getting in a position where I can do that now, just mopping up this oil here, just so it's a little bit cleaner when I start pulling this out. I might have to use the block and tackle to lift this, because I don't think I can get this on my own. I actually have got a weak disc in my back. I've had it for years, but it's got worse recently. And leaning over at this angle, I don't know if anyone else out there who works on Pintos, particularly in the Cortina Mk3 position, it may be lay in a different position in other vehicles, but the Mk3 you gotta lean in, and that gets my back just by leaning, and also lifting on a compression, possibly a herniated disc I've got. I don't know. Don't need pain control for it, but I can feel it, so I'm wary of lifting this. So I could use a block and tackle. That's why I'm leaving these lifting eyes on and just taking the exhaust off at the back of the manifold there, and leaving the inlet one on as well. lift it as a whole unit. Of course you could take off the manifold and then re-bolt on the lifting eyelets, or lifting hooks, eyelets, better term. So that's the position there. Temperature sender off, water pipes off, water drain down, PCV valve pipe off, that top water hose off, accelerator cable off. Looking round, I think that's it. Cam belt off. I just slid the cam belt off, by the way. It was under tension. I'll probably just put a new cam belt on anyway now. Gonna mark up that pulley wheel just so I know where TDC firing position 1 is. Then I can just spin that back in. I'll leave the distributor in place, so we'll just line it up a bit easier later when we put the head back. See if we can find out what the hell's wrong with this thing. I'll shove a borescope down it now anyway. Not really much advantage doing that, just pure curiosity. But it's coming off anyway, this now. We're halfway there. Well, 90% there. Just need the cylinder head bolts undoing. Okay, PC then trying to find out what the hell is going on with this car. Okay, head bolts. They're coming off. One more to go. That's the end of the head bolts. We'll hook them out in order. I'll lay these out in order. Don't know if it really matters. 1, 2. That's it. That head is loose now. There it is, gone. Okay, let's have a look. You ready? Can you see? I'm checking that you can see, folks. Is everything on? I think so. Can drag it back. Piston's okay. Head gasket's gone. Head gasket, that's what it is. Blown head gasket. That's what we've got. Nothing wrong with the valves. It's a blown head gasket, folks. God knows why. How would that cause no compression on 4? Nothing wrong with the head. I'm going to bring you in now. Okay, I'm going to get this head out of the way, somewhere safe. I'll be right back. And I'll bring you in and show you what I've found there. Now I've done it this way because of my back. I'm walking the head home, and now it is going to put water down the pistons and stuff. I'll clean that out. But I'm manoeuvring it simply because of the weight. Okay, I'm trying to get a position which I could lift this without hurting myself. So I'm going to lean it forward. I'm going to get some cloths. For now, should just be able to rest this. I should have had a cloth ready here, really. Let me just try and gently rest it down. Feeling that. It's blown across both. Wow, okay, I'm going to show you in a sec. Exciting stuff. Wow, hold on everyone. Okay, so here's the culprit. See that should be like this. And we've got a big gap there, so it's blown across the two, which would make both cylinders die, probably running on 2 cylinders up this end. So no expensive damage, no damage to the piston, no damage to the valves. We should just be able to put a new head gasket on. I'll get a Victorine's one and put it back together, hopefully. I don't know why it's blown. It could be that the head bolts were loose. That's possible. we'll have to make sure we torque them back up. Perhaps as part of its service I should have checked the head torques every few 30,000 miles or whatever you would do. I don't know if it's something that you do as a maintenance, is just torque up the head bolts or check them. They did seem to come out pretty easy, I must admit. So I'm wondering if the head bolts had slightly lifted there when I've put the head on, because I did put the head on this car, so I could have maybe not addressed the torque settings properly on the head. So really there's no damage. What we can do while this is off is just check the valve clearances and check the condition of the valve seats. I'll flip this over for you now and we'll have a little look at those. But really pretty straightforward, no damage. So yeah, I'll now go googling and find out what causes head gaskets to blow. Type your comments away if you know why, and indeed big points to anyone who might have guessed it could have been the head gasket before we got that off. It's certainly something that I didn't consider. Okay, I'll flip this over for you now and we'll see just the valve seat recession and just see the condition of those. Really you can check it on a compression test, but we're off, so we'll flip it over and have a look. Okay, in a little mini time warp for you folks at home, just seconds on your screen, for me a couple of days for the Victorine's gasket to arrive, and it has. So I'm going to put some dowels in here now, and dowels are just cut off cylinder head bolts that screw in. We'll use two, and they'll guide the cylinder head back in and keep the gasket in place when we put everything back together. Now in terms of decoking this, it's pretty clean. There isn't a deep build up. Would benefit from a quick wire wheel. So I've got an air attachment with a wire wheel, which would just take the carbon builds up off the crowns of those pistons. We may as well do it. And then simply this is a reversal procedure. Many of my videos show cylinder heads going off and on, so I might not film the entire process simply because it's out there on the channel, but I'll do a concise version rather than in-depth. So we're going to go a couple of dowels on there to guide us on. They act as sort of pegs, if you will, you know what I mean. Clean off the sorry, the children are playing next door, the kids are on holiday. Yeah, just clean up the crowns and the valves as well on the head. We'll spin the head upside down. Head's just down here on the little dolly truck, ready to go. We didn't take off the inlet or the exhaust manifold, there was no point, and the rest of it wasn't stripped. There's no need, it's in good order this. There's no sludge build-up or anything in this engine, it's clean, although we're going to put new antifreeze mixture in, of course. We've drained this. And then the cam belt was only done 3,000 miles away, that doesn't need changing. It's got a Gates belt on it, plenty more miles left on that, 27,000 left on that belt. And that is it. Just guide the belt on, then retension the belt, take you through that. Pretty straightforward Pinto stuff. So all in all, the blown head gasket, we don't know why, but we go Victorines. There's the packet from it. If you want the code, I shall get you the code. It's a 612598520, a 2 litre, sorry that's overexposing, a 2 litre belt, slightly longer than a 1600 one, so you have to specify 1600 or 2 litre when you get a cam belt, simply because the deck, the block is a different height, consequently the belt's shorter on a 1600 lump. Okay, so there you have it. We are ready to begin reassembly. Okay, you just saw me cleaning down the pistons and the cylinder head there using the air tool. Now I've only got a small compressor, so this runs out of beef pretty quick. You can use this, which is just as effective. In fact, an angle grinder with one of these wire wheels, wire knot wheels, a good quality one I may add. Don't get cheap quality ones because the little strands fly off in your face. Goggles on anyway, but these twisted knot wheels are good for this. You can get right in. So we're going to do this cylinder head clean up the best we can. Okay, cleaned up the best we can, and people will really be angry with me, no doubt, for not lapping the valves in. But we're clean, and he hasn't lapped in the valves. Well, I'm not going into it that far. This car's got to get to Italy in September, and I'm running out of time. I'm looking at the backs of the valves anyway, and on compression, this engine was always really good, so I'm not really concerned about them. It's an unleaded head as well. It's got the inlays. So there's no signs of recession, especially on the compression test for this. We should see by the spark plug the markings for the unleaded heads. This was off a Sierra, I think. They have a little marking by the spark plug inlet, the other side, and I think it's like a letter 0 or an N or something, and it's stamped in. That tells you that you've got a unleaded head. You can look that code up on Burton Power's website. It tells you how to do it. Look for a stamping in the cylinder head, a letter, usually at the back near spark plug 4, cylinder 4, and there should be a marking. I think it's cylinder 4 anyway, don't quote me on that one, but stamped into the head is a letter, and that will tell you if you've got an unleaded head or not. Another way to work it out, you can look for the inlays. These are hardened valve seats, but that's not always an indicator. I can see them indeed there. So, without doing the lapping in of the valves, we're very naughty here at the city. We're putting the head back on. Let's go. Just in case you haven't seen them before on the city and any other Pinto YouTube channels, these are the dowels. That was a cylinder head bolt. Pete C chopped the top off with a slitting disc on a grinder, cut a slot at the top, and you can go in there. Lovely stuff. And that will help you do something like this. If this is the right way round. Oh no, it's not the right way round. Let's get the head gasket, our lovely Victor Reams model, the right way. Which way do we go? I think we go that way. Like so. That is on. Now I'm looking, there's actually the right ones to pick. I've picked the wrong ones. These ones secure the gasket better by not using the elongated slot. You're better off putting them in on the circle part of the gasket rather than let it move on that ear shape, if you see what I mean. So swap them around. Better that way. Less wobble on the gasket. So that is it. Clean pistons, cleaned head, ready to really lift this on. I need 2 people to do it. I just don't think that I've got the guts to lift that with the way my back is at the moment. It's not right. I need to get a hand to lift this on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out on the hunt for a extra pair of hands to help me. I really am not into lifting that on. Okay. Other than that, there's not a lot else I can do. I did look up, some cars have these nuts, others don't. I was told these were wrong, yet when you look on Cortinas you see that type of nut. Others are the the lock nut type. There is a name for that lock nut type as well. It's not a nylock, of course, because that would melt. It's like a nylock but using metal as the locking system on the nut. I've seen those too, and my other cars have them, but this car, I remember buying these bolt kits in the early days of building Swampy, and they've lasted out, but I don't know if they look factory or not. And of course, in the old days, I didn't realise that some of the studs were different lengths. That stud is a bit short looking at that, and so's that one. They're too short. I mean, that's not even on, because it's got the ear of the lifting bracket. That stud should be a longer one to compensate for the lifting bracket. So really we should replace those studs. They're not right. It's never given me a problem though. You know, this has never been touched, and there's an argument to say leave it alone. You're not doing concourse shows anymore, you know. The tensioner wheel is a new one, I believe, when I did the cam belt, although it has got a appreciable wear on that tensioner, but there's no play in it. There's not any appreciable play, and it is free to turn. So yeah, a wheel there. I think it'd be a good idea to pre-tension the wheel now. You can see here there's a spline, a torque spline, and then a locking bolt there. Sorry, the locking bolt there. We've done this so many times on the channel, you know all this, but you loosen that locking bolt. This then pivots on this spring. You have to slightly loosen that as well, and then you can, with a crowbar or a lever, you can push this wheel against that spring, then lock the nut there, and this wheel will then be locked back out of the way under tension. And the idea is when you get your cam belt correctly positioned, you release that nut at 13mm, and this then springs out and tensions the belt. You then do a couple of turns on your engine, then you lock that locking nut down, and then you lock that spline back, and that creates the tension on the belt. You should get about a half turn on your cam belt if it's tensioned correctly. Okay, so I'm covering that even though it's covered before, but there's no harm going over a few things if we're quick. Okay, so let's find some helping hands. Lift this cylinder head on. We're getting ready to lift the head on in this two-stage process onto that box there, then onto another box, and then hopefully into the car, because there's nobody to help. Before I do that, I want to show you the markers. Now the thermostat housing is slightly in the way, but if we just peek to the side, I've put two dots there. The lower dot's on the what they call the mountain. This is a peak of a mountain, if you will, a pointer. Then stamped into the cylinder head in the casting is a dot. You can see that dot above the pointer. Both those line up. That's top dead center on your cam. There's only one place that can go. It's not a 180 thing. Once that's lined up like that, you'll double check it of course when you install, but that is the firing position for TDC. TDC again can be found on the engine by lining up the markers on the pulley with the marker on the casing, and you'll know it's right because you'll get this rotor pointing at spark lead 1. If it's not, you turn that little auxiliary pulley wheel there till that moves to exactly to spark plug 1, and once that wheel's on spark plug 1 with this, once your crank is on TDC and your first piston is up, I think that's only one way that can go. I don't think TDC goes round again. I'll check. I can never remember. I can't remember if it's just one revolution of the crank does the whole lot. I know you can get that out. That does half, so that can go. But I think TDC and the camshaft you're on. The only thing that can be out when you're setting them up is the position of spark plug 1. You can have it on 1 where that's not on the compression stroke. Okay, then it doesn't start. But as far as I know, that is it. I'm going to line this up on TDC. You should see this piston come to the very top, and you should see that land on plug 1. We'll get the distributor out, pop it on, make sure it's exactly in line with spark plug 1, that piston's at the top, that marker down there is on top dead center, and that the camshaft is on the mountain and the moon position. And then it's just a question of maneuvering the cam belt back into place, making sure it's all on the sprockets, and then releasing the tensioner, rotating the engine on a 19mm spanner for a few rotations, and then you're good to go. Obviously we'll have torqued down the head at that point. Right, that's the tightening sequence there on the bolts. The bolts are in, the head is on. So you start bolt 1, bolt 2. These are spline ones, so you can reuse the bolts. It's those torque stretch bolts you can't reuse. People asking if you can reuse spline bolts. Well, these have been in once, so going around again on a spline bolt should be okay. It's going to start by torquing these up. I've set that initially to 60. I started on 35, I've gone round once, then I went to 45, I'm on 65, 79 now, so I'm at 78, so I'm nipping these up at 78, so I'm going to pull on this, and away we go in that sequence, 1, 2, then up down there for 3, you get the idea, they're the corresponding bolts, so you tighten them so that the force spreads out evenly, you don't get a concentrated force and warp the head. So it's just a gentle way of spreading the load out on those bolts with a torque wrench, and you set it just on the dial. You know how to use one? I don't. When you go to the next setting, it hardly feels like anything moves. But it does. Right, I'm torqued up, well torqued and good to go, baby. But I've got on my screen here a little sticker telling me cam belt 16561. Just there, a little decal. Now, my system. Right, it's a good idea, but does that mean that I changed it at that mileage, or it's due to be changed at that mileage? And I haven't made a note. And sometimes, right, listen to this one, sometimes I've done the stickers where that's when it should be changed, and I've done them where that is when it was changed, and I don't know, and I can't take the risk. I've looked at the belt. Now, according to that sticker, 3,000 miles have passed since that number on that sticker on the screen. This doesn't look like a 3,000 mile belt. It could be. Looking at the inside does look good, but the writing is quite faded. I don't know, I can't be sure, right, when that was swapped. Now, as I said, I've took it off and the inside does look new, but I just don't want to take the risk, so I've got another one. It's not a Gates one, it's a QH. I wish it was a Gates, but it's a QH. Okay, so that's going to go on. And looking at them side by side, well, do you know what, there is some fraying there if you look. Now that shouldn't be fraying at 3,000 miles. Look, it's breaking away at the edges. So do you reckon it's a good idea to do, given that you've got some strands coming away there? Look, you know, this could be that it was due then, in which case I'm 3,000 miles overdue changing. That would be 33,000 miles on that belt. So I'm going to have to make notes when I do my stickers, my engine tuning stickers, that's clearly marked what you actually mean by it. Okay, otherwise it's useless. So this can go on now. So I've took off the pulley. Luckily the pulley came off easy. Just crowbar and a hammer and tapped it. These can sometimes be stuck and you need a puller. If I did need the puller, I'd have had to take the radiator off to get the puller in, but luckily this should tap back on. Now there's no signs of copper slip on there, and I would have thought that if I've changed the cam belt at 3,000, this would still have traces of copper slip on it, and I never put these on without copper slip, which leads me to believe that whatever Swampy's mileage was 60,000 miles ago, whatever it's done, I'd have to check, but it's high, that that may have had copper slip on it at that point, but certainly that's not recent. And I don't think that I would have changed the cam belt without taking this wheel off. I don't think you can really thread it past that little washer, cup washer on the crank. So that leads me to believe that it hasn't been off recently. And looking back through my videos, I can't see a video of me changing Swampy's cam belt recently, although someone's going to say, there it is, and prove me wrong. But do you think I'm going to be going down the road thinking, did he or didn't he? It sounds like the silver screen, what's it called, that airspray from the 70s? Anyone know? Answers on a postcard, quick. Silver screen, silver, does she or doesn't she? Remember the advert? Does she or doesn't she? Some kind of sexist advert, but who cares? So, that's the score on the door. We are putting a new cam belt on. I must admit, when I tensioned it up with this old cam belt, that's what led me to believe to change it. It did twist over further than I liked. It didn't seem taut. And then, of course, I took it off and spotted that the edges of it were fraying. So I could be right. But let's play on the side of caution. All we need is some copper slip, the belt back on, and don't forget to fit the spray bar. Spray liberally, and we get that spray bar, and we'll have to line everything back up again. So mounting a moon again, TDC, and all the rest of the stuff. We'll put the cam belt on, then I can sleep better. Always copper slip the wheels. Just, you know, go crazy. Copper slip your bottom crank pulley, so not your wheel. Just makes life easier the next time it comes off. I'm telling you, I tapped that off, and that's probably because it has been copper slipped, although it was beginning to fade, so who knows how long it is since. But anyway, do that. I'm going to slide that back on the crank now. Put the crank pulley bolt back on. There it is. That's the crank pulley bolt. And then we'll whiz it back to TDC and set it up back and get the cam belt back on. As I said, I fitted that. Then I realised, I thought, this is a bit fishy. Let's go backwards a little few steps and just, you've got a belt in stock, do it. And then write down that it was changed at that mileage. Not just cam belt, then mileage, because it doesn't tell us anything. You idiot. Just a little bit of info for you with that copper slip on. You don't have to tap the pulley all the way on, because you can use the crank pulley bolt to just pull the pulley back on. Okay, so we're in gear. I've got no idea what we're doing. No, seriously, you can just use it as long as you can get it sort of enough to get the thread started. It'll pull it back on for you. No need to try and get a hammer in there and tap the pulley back on. It's just getting it off that's the tricky bit if you've not copper slipped in the past when you built your engine. Obviously, eventually the copper slip would run out if it's 100,000 miles worth and you've been through salt and stuff, but my wheel popped off okay without needing a puller. If you did, as I say, if you did need a puller, then your radiator's out, so it's another extra job you don't have to do. So that, you can see that's nipped it up now, and the belt's behind there with the cup washer thing that holds the belt from sliding forward on the bottom sprocket. Now we'll have to turn this engine round to TDC again, then turn the camshaft to TDC again. Luckily I remarked the indicators with fresh paint so we can see clearly what we're doing. It's a good little rehearsal. So that's that really, that's nipping up now. Like I said, I don't remember doing Swampy's belt, but I must have done at some point. Anyway, what can we do? Speculate all day long. That'll nip up now. I'll try and turn the engine. It'll try and move the car. 19mm this is, by the way, and I've got a swan neck on it, and you don't have to go crazy. That's tight, that now. Right, I'm going to go back up top and then put it in neutral and just get this to TDC again, and back round I go. Back round again we go. Just a little tip if you're out there. I've just been, obviously I've just refitted the belt, and I lined the bottom crank pulley up on TDC, okay? But then of course the camshaft wasn't on sun and moon position, or mountain and moon position in there. I'll remind you, the dot and the arrow of the crank pulley indicator need to be lined up. However, when I'm trying to turn the the camshaft to get it into position, the TDC position, at TDC you couldn't turn the camshaft. You could feel a valve hitting the piston. So if you're saying to me 2 litres are a non-interference, I don't agree with it. The 1600 might be, but I don't think the 2 litres is non-interference, because this touches the valves, and my other engines do that as well. So what you have to do to get it right, back the crank off, then you can turn this into TDC position, then bring the crank up, because otherwise it can't get past it. Something hits, I think the valve hits the piston. Now there's nothing unconventional about this engine setup, so answers on a postcard: is the 2 litre an interference engine? It must be. In other words, if your cam belt snaps, do you smash your valves? Well, I suppose it would depend on what point the cam belt broke, because there's a point here where the engine can turn over on its own with the cam stationary, but in certain positions I feel that a valve does hit a piston on 2 litre. Anyway, back off on there, back to there, and now bring the crank to TDC and then fit the belt. So a little bit of a cross talk between the two there. I've got a new set of leads for this which are going on. I don't trust those old leads now. They're looking a bit tired, so we'll put some new leads on this engine as well. Yeah, I'm going to go and connect little bits of hoses, and then we should be able to fire this up once the exhaust manifold's fitted. We're nearly there. Water in as well, don't forget. See you in a sec. Okay, we're putting the engine back together. I'm just going to put some new spark plugs in this now. So I've got some Mk3s. If you want some at home, the code for your spark plugs is, they are AP6FS, got 2710 at the bottom. AP6FS Mk3s. Looking in the auto data book for the spark plug gap, we're saying an electro gap of 0.025 inch or 0.65 mil. Now I've got this little tool. These are great, you can get them for a couple of quid, and it just sets the gap of the plug. So if we're going for inches, 0.25, let's go for mil. I didn't understand all of that. Millimeters, we want to be 0.65 mil. Where the hell is that on there? Oh, here we go. 0.8, 0.5, so somewhere around here. So just twist the disc in and then work your way around till it fits. At the moment this is set on about, it says 0.8. Have we got a 0.6 here? We have. I want to be around there. So you just tap it to close it up. Do you know what? We've got to go that way. You can't see that side. Okay, you win. I'll do it in 0.25 of an inch. It's about here. So close it up. Start again. Open it up, the thin end first, in you go, and then just wiggle it till you get to your 0.25 of an inch position. It opens it as you go, you wiggle, it opens, and there we have it, about there. That's our gap. You see it? It's the old hacksaw blade setup. The width of a hacksaw blade, they used to say. Right, close that one up, pop it on, slide it up until we get 0.25. That one's done. Tap. It's like those Terry's chocolate oranges when you tap that. No, tap your Terry's chocolate orange. Back again we go. Don't tap it too much or you'll never get the tool into there in the first place. You will. You just got to wiggle about. just help it along the way. Right, that's it. 0.25 for that one. Check this one. That one's a bit big. You get the idea. Okay, about there. Let's wake the screen up. A handy little tool. Why not? Okay, 4 new plugs. The old plugs were quite nicely tanned and in good condition. No cylinder was any worse than the other one, so the engine was in good order on Swampy. Plugs go in. There's our plug socket. And then I've got some nice new leads. I'll take you over and show you the lovely new leads from eBay. New leads then. These are 8mm high performance wire wound cable Sport PowerTech. Now these were custom made. The guy on eBay sells them. I wish that I'd kept his card, but you know what, they're that good. I gave the card to someone else that wanted some leads making at a car show, and I've forgotten the guy. I'm going to have to put him in the link. He makes them to order on eBay, any colour you like, Pink Floyd style. So plugs can go in, cam belt's nicely on, alternator I've noticed. Alright, let's get you set up. It's time for some spark plugs to go in, nipping them up. And then the dreaded gasket on the rocker cover that, if you don't get right, always leak. I'm going to put a cork gasket on with a little bit of stag seal, well seal. And then connect the spark plug leads, and I think that is it. It's just a question of cranking it over. Now I might have flattened the battery, so we might have to get this on charge as well. We'll have to see. Really should get it on charge now, really. It might crank up though, but it could take a bit. It's going to get some fuel through, and the timing could have drifted a little bit. But we should be good to go. Right, that's the spark plugs in. Ouch, I just headbutted the... Ouch, I just headbutted the bonnet catch. Ow. Ow. Little commercial break before we go for the rocker cover gasket. I can find a gasket. There is, in your screen now, there is Bramble. And Bramble needs some work too. Needs the valve clearance is doing. Coming back from a run down to Swindon, and all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, started rattling on a valve on a rocker. Don't know why that happened, but it knocks like heck, so something's gone. We have an extensive range of spares at the city, so we're looking for some gaskets, and here they all are. Here's one we prepared in our hand earlier. Nice little arrangement of spares, always in stock to keep the fleet going in our snap-on. Full of goodies and overloaded in the top. Come on, PC. Get your house in order and get all that tidied up, please. You're doing well. And also, a little bit of a sidetrack. I rebuilt a can vending machine. It's controlled by Alexa. I rebuilt all my pinballs. These all needed doing. All these pinballs, little distraction here, all these pinballs got neglected over the years. You'll see them in earlier videos. And I never got them all going. These were all operated by myself. That was my job in the 90s. And I kept my favourite ones. I had a fleet of pinball games, and I kept these ones. And they were working prior to Swampy days, and when Swampy came along in the garage in around 2011, they all got covered in sheets and left. Consequently, all the rubbers corroded, all the bulbs went, and quite a lot of the circuit boards had like these batteries on them to keep the memory. The batteries leaked acid, damaged all the boards, and I've just spent a good 2 months working on these. And indeed, there's been a break in the videos as well. But I've been on a keep fit regime. I've been on a training program for running, and I took about 8 months out after the last road trip video to Gibraltar. I took some time out. That's why I've been away. Nothing wrong, just a change of scenery for a little bit. But obviously I always wanted to get back to the cars, and it's all about now just keeping my fleet maintained and running. And there are a few more cars in the pipeline. There's one that's coming in, an estate car, a Taunus. More about that soon. I'll have to lose a car to gain a car. I'm going to have to let one of my cars go, I think. I don't know which one. But if I did this, I can switch all these on for you. Hold on, I'll switch them on with Alexa. Let's see. Alexa, can vendor on. It should work. There you go. Alexa, pinball 1 on. There you go. Alexa, pinball 2 on. So we get everything going. And look. Wow, look at these games. I've put LED lights in all of these and made them all nice and bright. They'll look flickery on your screen, but they're not. It's just the way LEDs look on camera. We've got beer in the fridge. So yeah, there's that's been going on as well. But back to the car, forget those for now. Let's get this gasket on and rocker cover on. I think we can fire it up actually, and then I can call this video to an end because we're nearly into an hour now. So let's just fire this up. Once it's firing up, ticking over, and the water goes in, I'll let it get up to temperature, let you see that, and then we'll switch on to the next job. So this needs some bushes at the back, it needs a bit more work, but that'll be a video for another day, and I'll hope you've enjoyed this video. It's rocker cover time. Okay, now I know I've said this many times before, but this stuff, I really rate it. It's stag weld seal, and I love this as a gasket sealant. It never lets me down. It just works for so many applications. It just works. So we're just going to put it. This doesn't even really need cleaning up with stag. You can just go straight on, and I reckon it'll just work. So let's just make sure that this is the correct gasket. These very kindly supplied by the muscles from Brussels himself, Mr. Richard Valentini. I'm just making sure these aren't overhead valve gaskets, because I've got some of those too. I'm just checking. I can never work out where these go. This could be, no, I think it is right. I think it is right. Yep, this is correct. This will work. So off we go with the seal. And I really don't believe I need to do anything other than this. Round we go. I really don't think we need to worry about any contaminants. This just works as it is, and that's it. So I've just gone round once. I'll do it on the other face as well. I'll have a cloth handy by, because it can get sticky on the fingers, this. So popping in the cork gasket. The cork gaskets work the best. There are rubber ones you can get. I've bought them from Burton's in the past, the rubber ones, but they break down, they're not as good. Would you believe these cork gaskets are fine? These ones a little bit distorted, I guess, in storage. They're not flat. I should have really had these stored flat. It should straighten out okay. And they have those locating ears, of course. You can see me just popping them locating ears in. So I got a big bag of these from Richard. You may remember Richard Valentini from our earlier videos. A great guy, gave us so much help. Full time now in his garage. We don't see him. We'd love to see him again on the channel. Richard Valentini, your muscles from Brussels. Are you out there, Richard? Go on, my son. That fits in quite nicely, actually. Oh, that's a lovely fit. So there we go. Say lovely fit, and then it goes and pops up like that, naughty, but it'll be okay. We'll just guide this in. So a little bit of well seal this side, and then I'll go around our finger on that. I rate it, I like it, works for me, it does what it says. These rocker covers, so notorious. If you don't get them right, you can have them, the flanges distorted, you can get them leaking. But this system I'm doing now is the one that's I've learned through my experience with Cortinas to be the most leak proof. Of course it helps if your rocker cover is not bent or distorted, because obviously if it is, that's one, you've got to get that right before you go gasket fitting. I think this will be okay. We're ready to offer it up. Let me just take that excess out there. We should be good to go. Right, we're going to get that on board. Oh no, just lost the washer. Okay. I do these ones at the front last because they're on little earlet slots, or they're slotted, so I like to bring the cover down first, then tighten these up. If you tighten these ones up at the front first, it can't pull it down, so these are the last to go. And if you do nip it up, take off a little bit there. I've lost a washer there, I'll have to put that back on. Ouch, that hurt. There is a technique, a tightening sequence in theory for these, but I've never really found it to be any good. I just go opposite sides from the front to the back. Gently though, you don't over tighten these, and let it warm up, then nip them up again. There is a technique for this where you can get it so they never leak, and I was getting better and better all the time with this. Let's see how we get on with this. I like to use this orange Swarthega, it's good stuff. Get it in small or large, and I'm just cleaning my hands up. Got some hot water on the go, just so we don't get marks all over the rest of the clean engine bits. I'm doing the ignition leads now, so they're all so nice and clean. I don't want to get stag seal on them because it is sticky stuff. You can see it there, it's sticky, which is what it's supposed to be. So just cleaning my hand with one hand on the camera, getting that off with the cloth. I did think about loading up this soap dispenser with Swarthega. I don't know if you can get it in these little, look what we got here. Torque soap dispenser there, and a nice supply of hot water. This is in the little service, little bathroom in the garage. And a little bit more scrubby do, and we'll be back. Yeah, I did fasten my strap on my watch. I had one. It's dead annoying, isn't it? I should really take that off. Clean hands for clean leads. Plug what? I just headbutted that hook again. Do you want to see what I keep headbutting the bonnet catch because of the angle, because I'm sloping down there. You tend to bump into that. That hurts. That. Stop it. 1, 3, 4, 2 is our firing order. They snap on nice, them. They clip on nice, rather, not snap on. They clip on nice. I like these leads. I'm going to send you the link to these things. Oh yeah, they feel good. Oh yeah. It's nice to have these clips too in place. You can get them on eBay. It just makes it neat, doesn't it? Look at that. Isn't that nice? Isn't that a honey? Ain't that a honey? We even got one. Are we missing one? We're missing a lead. Hold on. It would help if you fit the final lead. Did that go? I think so. Oh, that's a neat job. We'll get that little rubber isolator in, and that's the leads done. This one can come out a bit longer just to get our spacing. There we go. Right, we're nearly ready to crank it up. Where's that rubber isolator gone? There it is. That only leaves us the crankcase cover and the air filter. So I'm going to put that on. We can route these so it's neat. We can get them so that they're all coming out, like, you know, in a nice configuration in that rubber block. And then we'll fire it up, see if it goes. Right, I think that's about the neatest run you could probably get your leads to follow. I've got like this spacer block here, you can buy those. And then that's about it. King leads on. I think it'll fire there. No reason why not. Just needs some water. So I'll get some antifreeze in it now. 50-50 mix. Okay, so standard blue, antifreeze and coolant. The blue stuff. Don't mix your red and your blue. If you want to go red, all red. Blue seems to be recommended for these. Now, to get me 50-50 mix, half water and half mix into the can. Doesn't have to be exact, but you know the idea. Whoops. Okay, for now anyway, that's going to settle when we crank it. Let's see if it starts. Should just go. On the buttons, straight in. Whoop. Okay, that's a success.
Pair device.
Shut up. That's an old parrot Bluetooth. He'll never be connecting again. That fired on the key. It didn't even wait for a crank. Now, you just saw the video. That was completely from fresh. That video capturing that engine just cranking then. That was it. I hadn't cranked it before or anything other than when we had the head off. So the fuel obviously was still in the carb. Petrol pump was primed. So we'd put the leads on exactly right, put the timing back on the distributor exactly where the markings were. That's why marking stuff up helps. So everything got put back in exactly the right place. Consequently, second on the key it went. That was probably the quickest fire up I've ever had when I've had an engine head off and back on again. Instant. So it goes to show, if you put everything by the book, that's what should happen. So I'm pleased with that. So we're done there. I have fitted some new LED lights in here as well. There we go. And I'm going to talk to you about those. They're going to save you a lot of money. I'll do that on the next video. There's bulbs and there's bulbs. So Swampy is now firing. We just need to put this on, which I'd forgotten about. Show you now what I mean. That accelerator return spring, it just stops the revs, just pulls the accelerator cable back snug under tension. And then the air cleaner on, we'll give it a spin down the road and call it a day. Right, Swampy is boxed and it is driving okay. So we're going to carry on. Just doing a few bushes on the back of this car, and I've got some new springs coming in at the front. I was never happy with those springs, but another job for another day. Well, I'm going to do it today, but it's another film for you. Papa then, our daily, super duper daily. Look at this for a gear stick, folks. Right the way round, and right the way round. I just about got home, so it looks like it snapped the gear stick. Yeah, something's gone there. Now I have got a backup gear stick. This gear stick had previously done this, and I'd welded it, and it previous to me welding it, someone else had welded it, and I thought one day my weld will fail. You'll see why when I take it out. So I think it's gone, but I don't know how you can still, I can actually manage to still select gears. I thought that just sheared straight off. So you got to undo the gear knob there, slide the boot off, and then I think, if I recall, it was last year, but I think you tap round this. Now this is, I think it's called type B gearbox. I do believe they were in either Mark II or Mark I Cortinas. So because of the bench seat and the fact that you've no handbrake there, and your handbrake's on the dash, of course, umbrella, what they call the umbrella, the gearbox was made using the Mark I or Mark II Ford Cortina gearbox, because the output, the selector shaft thing, is further forward to keep everything out of the way. So that's why they used it on only on bench seat cars would you get that. I think if you had a bench seat on an auto, the auto selector would be here, in the same aperture position as the gear lever on a manual non-bench seat car. So that's how they used to lay it all out. But the export model quite typically had bench seats. UK also had them, special order. Your bench seat. It is quite a comfy driving position, you know. You can lean across with your arm like this on summer days with the windows down and cruise around 70s style. There's plans for Papa just to continue as it is. A little bit of body work. I'm going to do the front valance on this, then patina the front valance back in to match the paint, and I'm going to paint the lower areas of the car where I did some sill repairs. I'm just going to blend the paints. It's going to have a little bit of a touch up, but it will maintain its rustic look. But for now, we're going to have to get on and get this gear lever out and find the new one, or the spare one. I got a new old stock one off eBay, marked up as I think a Mark 1 Cortina gear selector, new old stock. It looks the same as this, so we should be okay. That's indeed if it is the weld that's failed. I'm just surprised that it's got to be, because it's got a fork at the end. There's no way you could turn that if it hadn't failed. I just can't believe that you can still select. But I think what it is that it's half in. The fork sections will still be in. It'll snapped, but I think there's a collar and it's managing to use the. Sorry, we cut off then. Yeah, it's managing to use the collar to select. So that's why. But I have to tap this round and see what we can do. And see what damage is to the gear lever on Papa. Right, I've got my hand in. This was actually loose. I don't know if it's that's causing the problem. This just screws in, but it must have slowly unwound. Maybe some stag seal on this. There's a sort of thread lock option. But what have we got here? We can come out. Has it shattered? Or was it just because it was loose? Well, that seems all right. I think what had happened is it's come out. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong there. That cup washer goes on, that goes on. Should we just fit the new gear lever anyway? Just for safety? Yeah, no, my repair's good. I think I've actually brazed the whole thing in the past. Yep. No, it hasn't gone. You can see my repair. So it isn't that. What the hell? Is it just that was loose? If I go all the way around, tighten it up. I mean, let me push down on this. Would that lock it in? I'm trying to work out what causes that to be able to turn left and right. This gearbox is tired anyway, but it still goes. That's turning within there. No, that's turning up. No, it has gone. It has gone. Yeah, it's gone. It looked like, yeah, it looked like it was all right. How about that for an optical illusion? Yeah, it has gone within this piece, so we're right. It has gone. Peach repair. No, there we go. Good night. Wow. Yeah, it's within the collar, which is what I thought when I first explained the possible fault to you. It's within that collar there. It's gone. I might have put a bit of weld at the top here and that's cracked. Don't know, because it has a cup on this. Okay, here, yeah, I've done a repair at the top. You couldn't really get big blobs of weld or get a deep weld there because the cup then wouldn't like interface into this ball. So that's why I went gentle at that side. I mean, I did it good here, but yeah, that's shattered. Well, not shattered, but as I say, it's fatigued off and gone. And I don't know if, I did have a rattle coming from this, and I'm wondering if this noise, you can just about hear it if I simulate it, was always that annoying noise. Let me see inside the actual box, but I want to leave that in position, so we want to engage the new rod. So what we're going to have to do is undo the locking screw at the bottom of here. You just tap this little locking washer and then undo the gear knob. Then get the new one if I can find it. Let me lay this out. I'm going to get out of the car now and get the new gear knob lined up. Okay, then here's the components, and yes, we do have in stock a selector lever. Looks the same to me, same length, so Mark 1 Cortina, that's marked up. These threads at the end will need cleaning. We're not going to get a selector knob on the end of that thread, so we'll have to wire brush that out. But we need to fit the fitting kit, some grease on it before it goes back in. Yeah, the repair just didn't work. It failed. As I said, that's why when I saw this come up, I thought if my repair ever does go, you've got it, and that plan paid off. So just whilst these come up, they must be rare, these selector levers. I wouldn't say you'd see them very often, so we can do that. Oh, it's not going to work. Oh dear, look at this, the ball's the other way round. It's different. Just spotted it. How strange. How strange. Why would that be? How weird. It's the other way round, look. Oh, there's no way around it. I can't be fixed, can it? God, I mean, you can forgive me for seeing how easy that must have been a mistake to make. On an almost identical lever, yet. Or is it that this is a separate... Oh, that's a separate piece. I'm wondering if... Is this in two pieces? Oh, maybe not. No, it's got the pin going through it. It's not like I built mine the wrong way around, is it? It seems too crazy. Did I put this together upside down? And I'm wrong. Well, that cup would have nowhere to go, though, if that was the case. No, because that cup is designed to go into this. It wouldn't really matter if that cup sat on that collar. Do you know what? I think I built my gear stick wrong. I think that... I don't know what I've done. I'm glad you're with me at the city today on this. I really am. Because it just cannot be the case. I must have put this back upside down. Wow. That is crazy. I wonder if that's why I used to get a rattle. Well, let's try slotting this in anyway. What can you do? And try it in the car. Has Pete C made an absolutely blundering error all those years? Has he? Does it? Will it? Did he? I think so. I think I got it wrong, yeah. You absolute lunatic. Peter. You did. I built it upside down. I can't believe it. Wow. And double wow. I've repaired. I've got to laugh at this. I repaired my gearbox lever upside down. Wow, and don't wear a white t-shirt when you start. I've just come back from running. We may as well do a piece to camera. Hang on a minute. Before I get changed, I've just come back off me running. So, a little piece to camera on Pete C's up. That is funny. That really is. So, I'm about to engage in a little bit of a mucky job, and I've just come back from running. I parked up and then ran, and then obviously in Papa, and then I've come back and the gearbox has gone. So I've just quickly wanted to see what it was. I'll now get changed into city mode and show you that this will be a lot better with the ball and socket the right way round. Stop recording. Right, we're back in city mode. No more running today. So I was just looking at that gear lever then. I'll put it outside so you can see what stupid mistake I made. Will this be now a nicer gear select? Well, I don't think it was that bad anyway. Oh no, gear lever's here. We're totally losing it. We're losing it in the heat. There it is. So we need some grease. We put it in. We bolt it all back together. The only thing that's going to hold me up is that there's heavy paint on the end of the threads for the gear knob to screw on. Other than that, it's easy going. So this is just a little clip at the end of Swampy's head gasket clip. You've been wondering where the city is. A year out, and do you know what? In the upcoming videos, you're going to be seeing damage control. The whole fleet's took a hit, and I don't want to do faux fear. I don't want to do fleet update, but I'm going to have to, because I ain't got another restoration for you just yet. So we're going to do some essential tips. I was thinking of this idea of like other Cortina owners that watch, and I've been meeting them more and more over the years, people who watch the channel. They're out there, other Cortina owners. It's not just for people with Renault 5s. Hey, Renault 5s? It's not just for people who are interested in the this Cortina City antics, obviously we originally set the channel up for Mk3 Cortina, so yeah, no surprise. Hello Mk3 Cortina owners, if you're out there. Recently in Practical Classics, I haven't bought it for a while, but I noticed there was a Mk3 on the front, a green one. I do know the gentleman who built that because I met him at the NEC. He watches, so hello. And is he another Peter? He might be. I shall have to read the mag. I'm sorry, I forgot. I think it is. Wait a minute, I'll go and have a look. I was going to say Paul's car, Paul Nichols, EFK 126L on the cover of the Practical Classics. Is it September's one? August one. August edition. You get yourself a Mk3 resto. Mr. Paul Nichols, I've met him, and yet he's done a good little job there. And there he is. Looking nice. All colour coordinated. It's got the Roadside on there. Great. Anyway, what I was saying was Mk3 viewers watch as well as non-Cortina and not even non-classic car owners. Anyway, I've been away, and these fleet updates. Well, we're running 1, 2, 3, 4. We're running 5 Mk3s at the moment. There's a possibility of an estate car coming in, a Taunus, but it is not in this country. Ruby is away and doing great in Gibraltar. Absolutely, that is going well. But just outside, actually, but it seems to come into its own when you go across the border and you end up in Gibraltar, because it's a British car in British place, and there's all the little picturesque streets. It's very quirky. These cars, as you've seen, swampy, head gasket, need bushes for the back, need springs for the front, because those springs were too long, and I added a little bit of metal to the bottom of them. It was a bad idea. They creak and they're no good. Bramble needs gearbox attention. It's changing up late. It did it when I was in Italy, and it's annoying. Tappets need doing on the valve clearances, need doing on it. All of a sudden it just started clattering, so I think one's loosened, one's loosened. Tina G's took a major hit, because I did notice there was rust under the vinyl roof, but it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I'm thinking it's going to have to come off. And I've took the vinyl roof off Tina G. It's got to be done, and it was covered in rust under there. So it's a good job I did it. There was even a hole in the roof. Poor Tina G. That's what happens. See, Tina G did a year outside, and it murdered it. It murdered the car on top. It's all right underneath. I mean, it hasn't had a full resto, that car. It's just a good solid machine that just needs, I mean, you could concourse that car. It'd be a great project to concourse. I'd love to do it one day, because that's been my car for what, since 1992 at least, maybe late 91, can't remember. Definitely since 92 I've owned that Cortina, so that surely would be a prime full resto. Maybe the last time, who knows. Anyway, that's the update and the shape of things to come. You'll be seeing the flex plate getting fitted to Tina G, because that's now shattered 2 flex plates. I've had one made in special sprung steel, properly laser cut. We'll show you that on an upcoming video. The gearbox, I'm going to either take out the engine to do it or drop the gearbox. I don't know which yet. You'll see some maintenance work, and I've got these sort of essential tips. I think that was the original point of this. Mk3 Cortina owners, some of the stuff that I find are just quick essentials. Your LED bulbs, what type do we use? Boosting your fan motor, how do we do it? Quick MP3 or quick Bluetooth upgrades, what you can get. Some of the spring types at the right height, so you don't go too low, too high. All these kind of things, these quick, I wish I knew that tips. We're going to be putting them on the channel as well, just to give you as much handy info if you're running your Mk3 as possible, and not my long hour videos, just a quick, these are the bulbs, are the best. This tool works the best. This spring from Burton, Rally Design, whoever, is the one which gets you. You don't have to go getting the wrong springs, etc. This quick fix works on a Pinto, or all those kind of just quick get to the point type stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to start throwing that kind of info up out there, just so it's easily referenceable in short clips. Also, I'll take you through a front valance removal and install the quick and easy way, because that's a job which you could do reasonably. You don't have to be too experienced with welding to do that job. You could do it as a nice first time panel repair. So I'll take you through a front valance swap, because this car's going to get the front valance swap. A couple of other bits as well, and I'll chuck in some non-Cortina related stuff. In other words, I'm just going to try and keep on going. Some road trips too, a little bit of a road trip out, a 70s themed trip out in Papa, KP, dressed 70s, all just 70s, you know, and go out at the last of the summer and do a little trip in this, park up on the beach maybe, make a coffee, have a chat, got the coffee machine here, and talk 70s if you want. For the hardcore viewers who just want to have a listen, stick it on while you're making your tea or whatever. Basically what we used to call the ramble. Yeah, they were fun, those rambles. And that's it, you know, that's what we're up to. Basically, I'm trying to get content for you. I've never struggled in the past. There's always something going on. I mean, when you run 5 cars, there's always something. And then that reminds me again, when I was talking about quick fixes, stuff like your oil filter, what's the code? Because the Napa and North American Parts Association, I think, there's a lot of outlets of those Napa outlets around the country, and they're great places to get a lot of the Pinto bits. Stuff is dwindling away, I noticed, but you still get the oil filters, still get the spark plugs, you even get exhaust, alternators, starter motors through Napa. So those codes would be good for the channel. Give you a code, saves you trawling through eBay trying to find stuff. Which parts I find the best for day-to-day maintenance, all that kind of stuff. Some Elton John thrown in the mix on the 8-track. Can't do because of copyright. Bit of some AI discussion, move you on from my last AI video. That was part of a ramble, how AI would affect YouTube, how it would affect your mobile phone. And at the time, the night that I made that film, I'm sure I said on there, not trying to big myself up, but I'm sure I said on there, soon AI will be coming to your phone. So it wasn't on at the time, and now it is, you know. And people would say stuff like just unplug it and things, but you'll get your idea that you won't be unplugging anything. See you in a sec. I'm going to get this gear lever fitted. It's a ramble. Okay, greased and ready to go the right way round. Can we find the little selector? Is that right? Right, I've got it on, no problem. We just got to, if you look down there, you'll see there's a cup that receives the little fork end, and you slot it into that and pull it across. It goes in. So the ball faces that way down. I've got a spring going on there, and then you've got a cup, metal cup, comes down like this, and then your plastic. Now we'd have to be careful. I can see this would be quite easy to cross thread, so we'll guide that down gently, and it is spring loaded. So you got to be careful, that's got it straight away. So that's that. And as I said to you, it's been off and welded before when Papa was in British Guiana, which is where the car came from. So someone's repaired this with quite a bad weld, and then I did it and it didn't work either. So all we've got to do is get some turns on that. I'm going to tap it round, and then really I'd like to lock it in place, but I don't know. There's nothing wide enough either to get this. I don't know what method I could use to lock that. As I said before about stags, I didn't want to really lock the threads, so I don't know if it could drill through. I don't even want to do that, to be fair. There must be a way of locking that. Right, that gear lever is now back in place and I've locked it down. Just so the gear knob stays straight, you put this locking collar on first, then the gear knob, and then lock that up. It's got two little slots, you can just get something in there, tap it round and lock the gear selector knob in the correct position, just so it's straight. You do see them out of line, not just on bench seats. Well, I've seen another bench seat one, but you know what I mean. So we just... Right, I said I'd get onto Swampy's rear bush. So after a little bit of poking about, I spotted the bush with the aid of a torch, and it's this one here. So it's the lower arm rear into the axle, that one. So we've got to get that extracted. It's in a difficult place actually, and I'm half on a jack, half on an axle stand, dropping that lower arm down just to get so I can get the bush pulling tool in. Don't know if I've got a bush in stock or not, but we're gonna have to have a go. So it's extractor tool time. Try and get this out. Hopefully it's not seized in. Okay, so you're at the back, looking straight on the back of that lower arm, and you can see there's a little window in the cup. So this bush extractor, if you've never seen one before, we've featured them on the channel over the years. There's a cup there, this is the cup, so it's a hollow inside that. That allows the bush to be pulled out into the hollow, and you can see there's a little bit of rusty metal just coming into the cup, and this is the die that pushes it out, and it all works with a bolt. Basically it's a high tensile bolt, and you tighten the bolt up and it pushes that die through and pushes the bush straight out. It has to be a high tensile bolt, or else it'll just strip the threads. Okay, so that works. These dies do come with threads built into them. There's the other size die, that's for a different size bush just there. By the way, I made a mistake of doing this when the Ford carpet was down, which is not what you're supposed to do. Absolutely, I'm stuck now. Anyway, I didn't want to do that. It looks like it's going to come out. As soon as it cracks, you hear a crack. I did hear it crack. It's basically the bond between the steel bush casing and the actual arm itself, the receptacle part. I heard it crack. That bush there, the die, sorry, they can go in at an angle. So if you see it trying to push it in at an angle, you just back off and come back in again and just watch it straight. Plenty of lubricant on it. Spray liberally. Spray liberally, folks. For the sake, don't forget, spray liberally. So we're bringing it out. Hopefully this will then be pretty straightforward. I wouldn't say it's the best position to do this in. If you really wanted to, you could take the arm completely off. You've got a handbrake cable clip, you've got the anti-roll bar. Some cars don't have an anti-roll bar. This one has. I think it's a smaller one. It's not the thicker anti-roll bar on this, but anyway. Yeah, so it's on its way. You can use a impact gun on this when you're confident. We have got an impact gun lined up. Just got to be careful with the impact gun. You can blow the threads even though they're high tensile. I've seen this happen, especially if you've got bushes that haven't been put on recently and that are part of the old structure of the car, in which case you'd be better off with the arms on the bench, because you might end up having to cut and burn the rubbers out. I've seen them fuse in where even this extractor won't work. A note as well to make: if you're putting Flowflex or poly bushes back on, they come in two halves, and you don't have to use the extractor or the inserter tool to reassemble them. They just push in at either side because they're split into two halves. I'll be putting back a Ford bush on this simply because I think I've got one in stock. So that's it. This rear end on this car is just normal Ford bushes. It's not poly bushed. Bramble is poly bushed. I'll show you. I'll crawl across. You may as well stay with me on this one. You'll see that there's orange bushes just up at the top of the axle there. You can see on that top arm, and if you look further back on your screen to the yellow Spax shock absorber to the left, you'll see the orange face of the bushes. So that is poly bushed and Swampy is standard bushes. Swampy's a softer ride, not as firm as Bramble through the bends and the corners. You can feel the difference, but it's your choice. Standard bushes seem to be getting harder to buy now, and new old stock ones that are 50-year-old, is it worth it, we ask? Anyway, I've got it in stock, happen to have some time to do this, so I'm going for the standard bush. Else not, I'd have to replace all of these with polys. It's about 180 quid for the rear end set. I'm going to carry on with these two 19mm spanners and wind this bush out. As I said, I'm going by hand, which I wouldn't normally do. I normally have the impact gun on this, but I just wanted to feel this through. I think we're going to be okay here. Now I've got the window of the cup, I can see any movement as well, so I've repositioned it. It does start to get tight, and you'll think you're not getting anywhere, but you will. A little bit of lube, spray liberally. You can see it's capillary in the lube in. Try not to get any on my lovely Ford carpet. Oh, why have you done it? Yeah, this is going okay, I can tell, and it gets easier and easier, of course. Less surface area to grip the further you go in. Today we've been lucky, so I will go by hand on this, just up to this point, and I can always get the whizzy gun on it, but we're in luck, we're going. You'll just see the dye slowly going through. It'll get easier and easier. No problem at the city, because Swampy's rear end was twitchy, bouncy and clunky, and no wonder. As you set off, the axle would slightly move, you could hear it clunk. Whoops, you could hear it clunk. Because the threads on this stripped, I've got a nut, a 19 nut that I'm using to pull it through. Now that nut is not high tensile, so the nut could strip this whole affair with my die thing. I'd like to get a new one, or at least a new set of high tensile nuts and bolts to help with this operation. Of course, I fitted these bushes when I built Swampy, so they're not like from factory seized in. Although you wonder why I don't know, is it 65? Have I done 70,000? We're all wondering what mileage Swampy's done, but it's a lot. I keep saying that. And underneath, by the way, I've not been under for a while. It's very clean and nice. Couple of little bits of rust under some couple of seams. I'd say it's just like where two seams have met and you get a bit of water trapped, but it's mint under here. Stay with me then. I can feel this easing up. The Swan Neck 19 coming in effectively just about do it, but we can always turn on the other side as well if we want. And then we'll feel it go. Stay with me and spray liberally. Come on, it's not really eased up. Running out of depth on the Swan Neck. Also, I'm wary of slippage here. If I slip now, my hand goes into the edge of the jack, which could hurt, so I'll be careful there. I'm going to pull on the other spanner. It's not as easy as pushing. We should be out soon. Now it requires some force now. Not eased up yet. Still room to go on this side. Watching out for slippage. losing depth. We've got to be close. Join me this side, PC. So, hopefully this will help you. I've got a bit of a technique going now, he says. It's got to be close. I can hear something. I've been wanting to do this job for ages. That was the slippage I was telling you about. Luckily no pain. You think, when's it gonna go? Of course, now we could get away with the impact and it wouldn't cause any damage and it'd fly out. Impact driver. I got a mains one, a Clark one. Very good one actually from Clark. It's done me well. Cheap, but it works. It's never let me down. I don't think it'd take heavy garage use. It's easing up a little. I'm able to get some turns on that. Oh, I do feel like getting the gun out. Now I'm getting annoyed. No, I don't get annoyed actually. Very rarely. Things don't really worry me that much. It's just metal. And there's always a way around it. You can always have a break. Get a cup of tea. Or whatever beverage does it for you. I'm hoping that we are still making progress and that nut is not threaded out. It's not, because I can see the cup's well through. There should be a breakthrough soon. There can't be much left. I think it's bottomed out now, you know. I think it's completely closed. What I think's happened is it is out and it's met the bush now. And that is it, I think. So I'm going to back off just to see where we're at. So I think it's just going to crush against itself. That was one of the reasons I did it by hand, so I could feel the torque. Let me just see where we're up to. Let's just have a look. I have got, I'll tell you what I'm going to bring out. I've got a 19 electric ratchet. So I'm going to break off just to save some time for you. Hold on. So look how far out now. Oh, it's enough to come out. I don't know actually. No, because we've still got to draw out the die, so we've got to keep going to get the die out. But I'm just trying to think here. Is that all the way out? I'm filling the cup. Let's have a look. Get that out. That wasn't helping. I'll reinsert everything now. Go again. Don't think there's enough to carry on going there. I just wanted to check. Always a good idea to lubricate the threads as well. That really does help. They can actually get hot, these. There's that much force, they actually get hot. Right, wind that up. Turn this back to there. Lock back on here. and just put that back in. Right, that's the components of the void bush removal tool. My bolts from time to time strip, so you do have to keep putting them on, new bolts, but these are supposed to be threaded, but they're all stripped, so it's on its last legs, that. Well, it could be repaired. An engineer could fix that. Okay, so the old bush, as you saw, and then luckily we have got some in stock. This one looks the best, so that can just go straight back in. It's new old stock, but there you go. Okay, one thing to note with these, I thought I'd just let you know, they do have a marking that says top, and it's to do with the way the bush works and the forces on it, but top is top there like that, I think. So I'll put that in this bush in the top position, so that when it comes up at that angle there, that is the top of the bush. Now you don't need the cup to catch it anymore, you know, as it's coming out the other side. We're actually going in this way, slightly different than before on the tool. This is now a bush reinsertion tool, so we're going on the 19s and just going to wind it in. We'll feel it find its way. It's already started, and we probably could use the impact on this if we wanted. Now I don't think we're at any risk because this should go in easy. It's lubed up, you can see it going in, so if we want we can wind it in on the machine to save time. Let's just get the socket for that. 19. That's it. Right, I'm going to hold that. Hold on. Stay with me. Just about got enough room this side. Right, so I'm using the impact. Locked on this side. Grab the spanner and just pulse it in. I'm going to have my ear defenders on. Hold on, that's hurting my ears. I'm not doing that, no chance. I'll be right back. Okay, everything's back together and on to another job. That bush is in. You can, on some Cortinas, adjust the angle nose, the pinion angle, the nose of the diff with these serrated plates at the back here. They don't all have them. I think later Cortinas just had a fixed system, but there's it's slightly elongated here in the lower hole that supports that swinging arm, and there's these two serrated plates which you can lock together, and the idea is to get the pinion angle exactly right so that your drivetrain's smooth. It's hit and miss, you got to use a spirit level, but I've just counted the teeth on that side and it was wrong by copying the teeth, so I measured with a tape measure bolt to bolt positions, so the face point on the axle to the swinging arm bolt at the front of the lower swinging arm, from there to the face of the axle, and it was 3mm difference, so I've just nudged it forward a bit. Now there's a difference of 2mm. I can't get it any more, so that's the way it is. So that's your axle can actually pivot, and it can actually slightly be out. If you measure, a quick way to do it, you can measure from hubcap to hubcap and you should be within a couple of mil. If not, then your axle's slightly twisted on the car, in which case those serrated plates can be loosened and you can jiggle your axle a little bit. It's a little bit tricky, and then you can get your geometry better. Bear in mind, you've got to have your steering locked just nice and level, and this is assuming that the front geometry of your car's okay. Should be, because it's fixed on the wishbone system. But that's the idea. It should be square on your wheels is what I'm saying. We don't want to be crabbing down the road. So just bear that in mind. I did that lower axle bush, of course, and altered the serrated plate. So I'm just trying to get it back to how it was, if indeed how it was initially correct. I'm not saying that it hasn't moved over time, although I couldn't see how those serrated plates ever could. In the early days of assembling Swampy, was I familiar with that? I think I probably would have been. No harm in double checking. Tools away, let's move on to another job, and if I don't, then I'm going to thank you for watching these couple of clips. Bonus at the end of the head gasket video, just to give you some entertainment and a bit of an introductory, longer than normal film. So PC's going to sign out till another video. I think we've got an hour and a half's worth of footage here, I believe. So with that 90-minute film, it's hasta la vista, baby. Until next time. I'm sorry it took a while, but we're back with some more fun. PC is signing out.
Show you some more of those vehicles in just a few minutes. But I wanted to talk you through a few facts and details, a few facts and figures about this incredible vehicle. So as you say, the very first one rolled off the production line 60 years ago, tomorrow, 9th of August 1965. Number one at the time, helped by the Beatles as it happens. Now, if you wanted to buy one of those first vans, £542 is how much it would have set you back. Doesn't sound too bad, does it? Turn that into today's money and it's £9,000. And millions of them were made, not just for the UK market, but they were shipped right around the world. And in fact, a colleague of mine, Theo Leggett, he's been taking a look back at the history of this really incredible vehicle.
Now then, Gary, something special for you and something special for the city viewers. Gary has got a Mark III. He's one of my fans, patrons and subscribers, and he's also in the club. Gary Noggy's got a nice Mark III Cortina, but he also likes his transits. And what have we found on the city, folks? Just check this out. Oh yeah, we've got a project here. Will Gary take this on? Can Pete C get it to him? Mark I Transit from my neck of the woods. What do you reckon, folks? Are you Transit happy? 50th anniversary of the Transit, is it? No, more than that. Whatever it is, 60th anniversary of the Transit, perhaps. I think it is. Maybe not. I don't know. Isn't there something on Transits recently coming up, folks? Look at this. Is it the V4? Optional extra off-road petrol can. Come on, Gary. Is it flicking your switch? Is it doing it for you? Will the Noggy take it on? Pete C finds a flatbed. Look at that. And we've got to attach this. We've got 0296. Nice. Our family did have a Transit in the form of a camper van. Got converted with a V6 Capri engine. Bullnose front off a diesel went on it, and we went camping all over Europe. So I'm familiar with the dash. I remember that as a kid. Being sat in the front with Dad driving in our Transit camper. This brings back great memories. Transit fans will know the exact spec on this, but just looking at it there, we've got a missing sun visor on that side. Headlining is in good order, but it does look, the vehicle itself does look rusty, folks. I want to give that door any more stick. That's going to take some serious work. But yeah, there you go, on an R plate. Right on my doorstep. And if you don't get enough of a workout, both in your bank balance and your physical body, why not get yourself a bit of Men's Health Active X multi-bench press. Just look at the action on that one. 6 kilograms all in, going good to smooth, fully lubricated limited slip diff pulley there, titanium bearings, double roll bar support, anti-tramp kit fitted, beautiful piece. I'll work out your bank account once the transit's drained it.